This dude is legit. Holy crap.
Dante DeAndre, who's been our guy out of the pen.
Having to rely on those guys to really step up their games and help with the underclassmen on the team to really turn things around.
So dropping your time 5 seconds is a lot, let alone a whole 30 seconds in 2 weeks.
All right, we are back here with the Beaver Dam. TV-wise, I'm excited. Finally got it going again. We're here with Reed Mouse and Trent Mast. Guys,
TV.
how you doing?
I thought we were just on people's computer monitors.
Same thing, okay? It's the same thing. How was your guys' break?
It was good. I was just telling these guys we were supposed to play today, and
Right.
You see me, I'm wearing my Cubs gear, right? Big Cubs guy. And we were supposed to play today. Game gets canceled, and guess who's in Cincinnati right now, where I'm from? The freaking Cubs. So
I'm sorry, but I feel your pain. I feel your pain. If I was in that situation, I'd be a little upset too.
it was a good break, though.
It's good. Trent,
It was really good. I got to see my whole family. So
your birthday was over the break, right?
yeah, Sunday on Easter.
19?
19.
19.
Feel any older?
No, and I still look like I'm about 15. So it's all good.
All right, well, this episode of the Beaver Dam, we are going to dedicate it to baseball.
Everything should be dedicated to baseball.
Yes, I mean, we still got to show love to the other sports in season right now, but
Nah.
I'll do that later on in the show. Reed is our fellow baseball player on the Witmarsum staff. How you guys had a game over the weekend?
Doubleheader.
Yeah, against Earlham, the best team in the conference. You guys
Last year.
Okay, true. That is true. Guys went 1-1 against them. Kind of go over how game one went. You guys won 7-4.
So yeah, we Earlham, as I said, they were the best team in the conference last year, but they lost a lot of seniors. They lost the player of the year, the pitcher of the year, and then like 3 or 4 first team all conference players. But they're still a really good team. I think they came in at like 15-5 or something like that. And what their really thing was offensively, they didn't strike me as good as they used to be, but their pitching is bar none. They have a junior now, Walter Talcott, who didn't get a pitch at all last year because he was hurt. Well, he came in a few relief, but his freshman year, he should have been pitcher of the year, but they gave it to a senior.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he had much better stats, and so they gave him freshman of the year. And I remember we actually got his like first few starts, Bluffton did, and he just shoved it right up our bums. I mean, like, completely just was a dominant pitcher, and his success definitely got to his head a little bit. I'll tell you that
Right.
much. He was, if you can actually watch the games on YouTube, he's got some confidence. He doesn't lack confidence. Every strikeout he had, he blew smoke out of his gun and holstered his gun, and it was pretty irritating. But we couldn't hit him. We got one run out. We bumped out really early in the third inning, and then I think they had a 3-run fifth inning, and then scored another run later in the game. And it was 4-1 going into the ninth inning. They actually threw Talcott out there. He had 16 strikeouts to this point. He struck 16 dudes out through 8 innings, which, I mean, we were barreling some balls up, but I mean, he's a very good pitcher. And it was at 4-1. He was at 105 pitches going into that inning.
Goodness.
So they gave it to him, said, "Hey, go finish it out for us." And we got a base hit with the leadoff guy. They left him out there for one more. We had a ground ball to the shortstop, and the sun was setting down on the first base, and they went to flip it to the second baseman and turn 2, and the second baseman couldn't see it at all, went right over his head. So we had first and second up. They put a new pitcher in, and that pitcher didn't record an out. And we went base hit, base hit. I think we had an error somewhere mixed in there, maybe even a walk, and it was 4-3. And they put in a different relief pitcher with our best 2 hitters up, Colin Gregory and Ryan Golden. Gregory pops up to center field, and we couldn't score the run to tie it up, couldn't tag him up. And then Ryan Golden grounds the ball out, and then a freshman comes up, Jacob Lukowski. He's had a very good year. He's our 4-hole. He just trickles this ball just hard enough to where they couldn't make it out on the play, just right up the middle. Both the shortstop and the second baseman converge on it. No one can make a play. We scored 2 runs on it, took the lead, and then I think we had another base hit from Parker Reynolds, who came in for me earlier in the game. He had a base hit to make it 7-4, and we ended up Dante DeAndre, who's been our guy out of the pen. He went 1, 2, 3. I think he had He did 3 innings of relief work,
Mhm.
scoreless, and you better believe at the end of the game he looked right on over to the Earlham's dugout, did the pistol, blew the smoke, and holstered those bad boys. And that was a great win. Like I said, they won our conference regular season. They won the conference tournament last year. They went to regionals, and they were a game away from winning regionals, but I think they lost 2 in a row. It's a 2 and out. So they lost 2 in a row, so it was a very good team. We haven't beaten them in 2 years. They swept us the last 2 years, and to get that win was good. And then game 2, we laid an egg. But, I mean, I think we're pretty excited just to split with a team that good, you know. We are not a team that is going to go out there, and I've said this before, and I've said this multiple times. We're not a team that's gonna blow you away. We're not gonna hit double off the wall, bomb, and we're not gonna just strike you out 18 times a game like Walter Talcott. But what we will do is we will. I hate using the word scrappy and gritty because I feel like it's like a backhanded compliment, but at times that word works. And for us, that was a gritty win, you know. And that's what our team does really well. I mean, we give up a lot of outs, but like when it comes down to crunch time, we work on getting it done. I think last week we had a game when we were down 6-5 in the 9th inning. We came back and scored 3 in the top of the 9th inning. So that wasn't our first taste of late comebacks.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the stats right now of that first game. You're not kidding. Talcott went 8 innings pitched. He gave up 9 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned runs, no walks.
The 2 earned runs were the ones in the 9th inning. When they took him out, those were his runs. Those were his responsibilities.
No walks, 16 strikeouts. This dude is legit. Holy crap.
Oh, and he knows he's legit, too. Let me tell you.
Oh, yeah. I can assume.
But, yeah, I mean, if you look on YouTube, you search Bluffton versus Earlham. It's one of the first games that come up. You'll see this dude, big old hair. He's got this big old mustache. And every single time he strikes one of us out, and, I mean, he struck me out 3 times. He had my number all day. But, you know, we found a way to get the win. And in game 2, we walked just so many people. I think if you search it, we had over a dozen walks, which you just can't give up that many free bases, especially like Earlham. Like I said, they weren't the most high-potent offense that we've ever seen. I mean, in years past they had been, but this year they were very young as well. A lot of freshmen starting out on the field, and they didn't hit the ball well. I mean, we hit the ball a lot better than they did. We barreled a lot more balls up, but they were able to score a lot of runs in that second game off errors and walks.
Yeah, you guys, in that second game, 8 innings pitched for all your pitchers. You got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pitchers in that game. 10 hits given up, 11 runs, 8 earned, 11 walks, 8 strikeouts. I mean, no home runs. That's a good thing, but also still.
Not many home runs are hit in D3.
True. And then with Earlham, they only had 2 pitchers, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, 1 walk, 14 strikeouts. I mean,
Kyle Gorman was a dude that we saw last year a lot, and he pitched against us in all 3 games, and he won us all 3 games. I mean, he wasn't as nearly talented as Walter Talcott, but what he does do, he's a really good pitcher. He keeps the ball low, keeps it away, has a nice slider that complements it. But, I mean, he just, like I said, just a nice pitcher. I mean, they're pitching, they had plenty of arms.
Yeah.
We're going to, I mean, if we want to do something special, they're going to be there at the end of the year. They're coached very well. They have a lot of confidence in their teams, and they got good arms. They're a good team, and that was a good split for us.
Oh, I wouldn't put it past you guys having a win against the conference champion last year. This year, that should help boost confidence. And pitching wise, they obviously have their stuff. What about Bluffton this year? I know we lost a couple for graduation last year. How does the pitching look now since you're about a month into the season?
Well, the only pitchers that had significant amount of innings coming into this year was Brantley Cornute and Dante DeAndrea.
Okay.
Everyone else had, I think, less than 10 innings last year or
Wow.
anything like that. And field-wise, the only players that came back were me, Golden, and Gregory. Everyone else is freshmen or they're sophomores playing their first games. So we're a very young team, which I think with not being an incredibly talented team, I think that helps us. I mean, there's a lot of kids that are hungry out there. They're they're not just going through the motions. They haven't seen these teams yet. Like I remember in the past few years, we knew that Earlham was good, so we just kind of bowed down to them and just let them play all over us. Well, this year these guys hadn't seen them. Like, I mean, they knew this team was good, but like they didn't know what this team was about. And we went out there and we won the first game. It would have been nice to get the sweep, but I mean, beggars can't be choosers. And with this new conference setup, I mean, it's a lot different. We used to play 27 league games. Now we're playing 18. So what used to get you in was probably 15 wins or so, 15 and 12 in the conference. Well, now no one really knows what gets you in. And plus 5 teams are making it now as opposed to 4. So, I mean, if you split with every team, you have a decent chance of making the conference tournament.
Gregory and Golden, they started off the year pretty decently hot hitting-wise. It seems like they've kind of slowed down. What should they do to really get back into the swing of things of hitting the ball?
Well, I mean, it's just, I mean, to this point, the guys that we've really relied on are these first 5 guys in the lineup. Reed Rowley's a freshman. Jacob Lukowski and me are all like on the out brink. But then like Ryan Golden and Colin Gregory, they're the 2 guys that we've really looked to throughout the season to get things done. And the way baseball is you go through slumps.
Oh yeah.
You get it from there. I mean I went 0 for this weekend and struck out almost every at bat. I think I made contact with like 1 ball, like just absolutely abysmal. Like people were like watching the comeback on YouTube and stuff like that, and I just wanted to burn YouTube. I never want to see these videos ever again. But no, to get these guys back in track, there's nothing you can really do. You just got to stay at it. You got to keep your confidence high. I mean, half of baseball is 90% is baseball. The other half is actually playing it. I mean, you gotta keep yourself out of your own head. You've got to just keep a good confidence about it. And you can't really bear down on mistakes. You really got to capitalize on the highlights.
Right. And I was watching the Dodgers game last night. They were on ESPN, and
the Beavers and the Dodgers are very comparable, though.
Comparable. But Alex Rodriguez was one of the commentators last night, and he was down talking to Joe Panic, and their discussion was basically because Panic is like the first player to hit back-to-back home runs
in 1-0 games.
Yeah, in 1-0 games.
Such a baseball stat.
Yeah, right. But like they were talking about how his swing and like some of the up and coming stars, like their swing's different, and they were talking about like Alex's swing was like I think he wanted to get under the ball to get it out, and then all these guys are like uppercutting it to get out. So like what's your stance? Like how's your swing? Like how would you compare it? Is it more like the old style of baseball hitting, or like how these up and coming stars are hitting?
Definitely what you would call the proverbial slap hitter. My dad was actually making fun of me because like I'm a decently well built guy, and he's like, like other kids your size are like hitting home runs, Reed, and like you just slap the ball around the field. What's up with that? And it's like I don't know. Like my first few years here, I'd struggle hitting, so I would strike out a lot, which I'm striking out this year a lot. But I was just worried about like making contact with the ball. Like I hit near the bottom of the order the first few years, so like my job was just have good at-bats, move the runners when I can, and just put the bat on the ball. Well, the new thing to teach is hit the ball in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, for every Little League coach, every coach teaching youth baseball tells you, hit the ball on the ground, pop-ups are easy to catch and stuff like that, which is true. But a new way to think about it is a baseball field, you have 4 guys covering a small area of field, the infield.
Yeah.
Third and first, shorts and second. They're covering, I don't know the square footage, but it is 1/3 of what 3 people cover in the outfield. And plus, I mean, when you put the ball in the outfield and it gets to open ground, you're not getting a single. You're getting doubles, triples. I mean, you have a chance to hit a home run. You can't hit a home run if you hit it on the ground.
Right.
So all these players in the MLB are looking to hit the ball in the air. I mean, these are stronger guys facing it, stronger pitching. So the thing about a home run is it requires no production from anyone else in the lineup. You just hit the home run, you get the run.
Yeah.
Well, D3 isn't the MLB.
No, by no means, no.
I mean, you got some dudes that can definitely hit the ball hard. I mean, I think Ryan Golden has 2 home runs. Colin Gregory has already, like, tripled his extra base hits from last year. Like, he was always a singles guy, and he's really stepped into hitting some extra base hits. But I mean, my swing has always been typically just trying to hit line drives, trying to hit it backside, trying to hit it where it's pitched, just traditional baseball kind of stuff.
What is your favorite pitch? Either catching, like to be thrown to, and then batting. What's your favorite pitch to hit?
Well, I mean, everyone likes hitting fastballs.
Right.
Like, I mean, everyone does. And you get to the pros, a lot of dudes like look for hanging curveballs and sliders and whatnot, which I've actually, some of the balls I've hit harder this year have been off curveballs. But, I mean, you just look, no one looks up and early in the count for anything other than fastballs, you know? Like, you get up there, they say, hit hard speeds. That's one of the things. Like, look for what your pitch is, and you ask around, and the whole team goes, oh, I want a fastball. But pitching, it's a little different. I mean, it really just depends on the pitcher. I mean, everyone's stuff looks a little different. Like, we have this freshman, Garrett O'Reilly. He throws a two-seam fastball that breaks it down and in and gives batters fits because they just beat it right into the ground. Then we have Dante DeAndre, who has this big old loopy curveball that's fun to catch. And then Brantley brings it a little bit, and he's got a really nasty changeup. My favorite, as a catcher, the most fun thing ever is when a pitcher has a really good changeup. Because watching dudes look silly on changeups is awesome. And then also, like, as a catcher, I mean, you don't get as much pride as a pitcher does, but a pitcher, when you blow a fastball by someone, you get a little pride. I mean, you stick that chest out.
Right. So, like I said, Bluffton won 7-4 against Earlham in the first game, and then they lost
Pretty badly. 11-2.
Yeah, they lost 11-2. Gave up 2 in the second, 5 in the fifth, 1 in the sixth, 3 in the seventh, and just
pitchers
not good.
One thing the pitchers were really struggling with was the mound. I mean,
Right.
baseball, out of more than pretty much any sport, is the play is really determined by the conditions of the field, conditions of the day. I mean, like, you can't hit a ball hard on a cold day.
Yeah.
Like, balls just don't travel as hard, as far. But they were really struggling with Earlham's mound. There's this big old crater on the pitcher's landing spot, and none of them could really get a grip for it, and they were leaving balls high because they were falling and their arm was lagging behind, and that was something that they were really struggling with. But I mean, the other pitcher I don't think he had many walks at all, maybe 1 or 2, and we had 11. So if one dude could deal with it, then both sides should be able to deal with it.
Yeah, their starter, it looks like, only had 1 walk. Kyle Gorman.
Yeah.
Threw 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned run.
So yeah, coming up this week, we have a big old stretch coming around. We have 6 conference games this week. We play 2 against rival Defiance tomorrow. Then Saturday, we probably play the best team in our conference. Earlham was the best team last year. It's looking like Franklin's the best team this year. They were one of the teams that didn't lose a whole lot of upperclassmen. They got a lot of guys come back, and I think they've only lost 1 game so far into the season. So they've got a lot of good talent. They have dudes dropping bombs. They have a lot of good pitchers. So we'll see them 2 on Saturday. Then we got to turn right around and play 2 on Sunday.
Oh my!
Against Manchester. So a team like us who can be stretched thin on pitching at times, it's going to be struggling, especially because we don't know if Brantley's going to be.
Right.
Brantley hurt himself a week and a half ago at Wittenberg, and he threw today, but it wasn't like he kept it short. He wasn't doing long tossing or anything like that. I don't know how he's feeling arm-wise, but if we can get Brantley, that will give us a lot of confidence going into this weekend.
Yeah, that'll be huge for you guys to have Brantley come back because he's a really good pitcher.
Yeah, he's one of the best in the conference, bar none.
All right, so that's it for baseball. And we'll jump into softball. I know you haven't really watched much of the team play because, I mean, their practices along with yours at the same time and then same with games. But they traveled to Transylvania on Saturday. They lost both, which hurts. They're now 5-14, They're 5-14 overall, 0-2 in the conference. They lost 13-2 in the first game and then 9-6 in the second. Have you been trying to keep up with softball, even though you can't really watch?
I haven't looked at their stats, but the one thing about softball is they've just had so many transitions in their years here. In my 4 years here, this is their 3rd coach, I believe.
Yeah,
could even be 4. It's not 4, I don't think.
I don't think so.
It's 3. Coach Bruder, Coach Rush, and so Coach Des Moines. is currently now. But yeah, they've just had so many transitions. It's really hard to get in the groove of things. You look at professional programs. Oh, let's look at other college programs. That's the best way to look at it. When a coach leaves, that really sets the program back a few years, and you really can't just jump right back into the things. Very seldomly do you get that. Lincoln Riley for Oklahoma in football this year, but yeah, I mean it's hard. It's a new system, or not really. You don't really system, but I mean it's just different ways of coaching. You got to get used to coaches' personalities. It's a whole thing, and they're 5-12. I mean, they've got talent. I mean, if this team turns around and wins 8 straight games, don't be surprised by that.
Oh, no.
Because this team has some good talent. I mean, Josie McElroy, she's the all-time leader in
almost everything.
Every category.
Almost, yeah.
And then B. Huff's right behind her. So they've got those two seniors really, really leading the way.
Yeah, and me and Trent, like the last couple of weeks, we were looking at the stats, and they have, like, the at-bats. They have the hitting. It's just... It seems like a lot of their problems comes in the fielding.
Really?
Yeah. And
a lot of errors.
Yeah, they give up a lot of errors. I don't know if this will have it or not. No.
Well, one way you can look at, easy way to look at if pitchers are, or if errors is a problem, is you're looking at how many runs the pitchers are giving up as compared to how many earned runs they're giving up. I mean, our team, baseball-wise, we struggle sometimes in the infield. I mean, we've had a lot of errors. I mean, we might already have as many errors this year as we had all of last year.
Oh, wow.
It's just comes with the young infield that we're playing. I mean, Lenny Winiarski's a freshman. Jacob Lutkovsky, Jackson Rogan are freshmen. And then we've got a couple sophomores that haven't played before. So if fielding is the problem, it'd be pretty easy to see that in the stat sheet just from pitchers' run versus earned run average. But softball stats are so weird. I remember every time I watched the softball College World Series, you see these hitters coming up and they're batting 450 with 20 home runs and 100 RBIs, but then every pitcher has like a 1.5 ERA, and like something's not adding up there.
Right.
It's either got to be one or the other.
Yeah, softball. My sister plays softball, and her last year of travel was last year. So, and I got to do a little bit of the book. So, but they don't like go all in depth with travel like they do with like college softball. So like a lot of the stuff is just really confusing. Baseball's a much easier game to me to follow. I mean, stat wise,
It's the same game, isn't it?
I mean, yes, it's the same game. It's just they just have a bigger ball, smaller field, smaller bat,
Longer bat.
longer bat.
I believe it's longer.
It's lighter. I know that.
It's lighter, but it looks longer. Maybe that's just because it's thinner.
Probably. Well, this is game 1. They lost, as I said, 13-2 to Transy. They were tied at the end of the first inning. I mean, 1-1, and then Transy just went out there.
Transy's a good team, though.
Yeah.
I mean, just looking at the record, you could immediately see that this is a pretty good ball team. And in Bluffton, they had a tough trip down in Florida. They came back, and they kind of turned things around a little bit. I think
that first week, they went 2-2.
Yeah, I mean,
and they came back.
That was promising. And then losing your first 2 conference game, no need. You don't got to slap that panic button right away. But like I said, this team's got a lot of older classmen and transition periods with coaches. That's who you look to because they're the constants through it all. That the players are. So, I mean, haven't seen much of them play. Like to go out and watch a game here and there, but I mean, don't be surprised if this team turns it around.
Oh no, and I'm hoping for the best for these guys because they have at least 5 or so seniors on the team. I want to say there's a little bit more than that.
Jesse Madzia, Josie, B. Huff,
Mercedes Burns,
Mac.
Yeah, Mackenzie Schmidt, and who else?
Chelsea
Zoltowski. So, I mean, they have the talent. They have the upperclassmen to help. It's just having to rely on those guys to really step up their games and help with the underclassmen on the team to really turn things around. And I really think that they have the opportunity. Their schedule, they have about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
These are all doubleheaders. They played nothing but doubleheaders.
Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 games left on the year. Their last game is Rose Holman, April 28th. That's
Yep.
at home.
They've only got nine softball teams in the conference, so they finish a week earlier, right? Isn't that how it goes?
Yeah, it looks like it because you guys' last game is
May 5th.
May 5th. Because we're out of school by then.
I'll be graduating.
How you feel about that?
Oh, it's the most startling thing in the world. Like, it's awesome because, like, I don't have to go to school anymore, but
Right.
at the same time, like, you're just, like, constantly freaking out. Like, something's going to go, like, haywire, and you're just like, I'm not going to get to graduate. I'm not going to get to graduate. Like, I'm freaking out about it, but at the same time, pretty pumped.
So is that last game going to be very emotional for you?
I'm going to have the biggest fan section in the world. I'll tell you that.
Really?
I've been sending, like, Facebook posts out. I've been trying to get people here left and right. Like, I'm having my buddies that graduated last year. I had my buddies from high school, family members. I'm shipping people in. I've been really campaigning to get, like, some cubbies there, like Anthony Rizzo.
Ooh.
Yeah. I've also been campaigning to go to Anthony Rizzo's wedding for a while, and I don't think I'm going to get the invite here soon.
Well, I hope you do. That'd be nice. And that'd be really interesting if Rizzo can come out to
That'd be pretty dope.
good old Bluffton, Ohio to watch the Bluffton baseball team
We might
win.
throw him in a Beaver jersey and just
Hey,
see
there
what
you
he can
go.
do.
I think that should help you win.
I think that would be unfair to the other team.
A little bit. Trent, you got anything for Reed? Oh, goodness. Well, that's softball. Their next game, let's see, is April 4th at Defiance. Doubleheader against the Yellow Jackets.
It's Defiance week here.
Yeah,
during
it is.
D3 week.
So for men's golf, we haven't really talked much about them because they haven't really had their first meet or invitational. They have that this weekend, April 7th, Saturday, and Sunday, April 8th at Ohio Northern University. And from the fall, they had a decently good outing. I mean, it didn't count towards their season. That was the women's. But Coach Craig has a lot of great freshman golfers that are just going to continue to improve throughout their next 3 years here at Bluffton. And we here at the Beaver Dam are going to wish them luck this weekend at Ohio Northern. So, last but not least, a team that we say is the low-key best team in Bluffton sports
Really blowing it up.
is the outdoor track and field team. So over the weekend, the Bluffton University track and field teams had a busy Good Friday. The squad split up in between two meets that were 350 miles apart and seeing quality performances including two new school records. While most of the team was competing at the Otterbein University April Fool's Invitational in Westerville, Ohio, 5 of the team's leading distance athletes were in St. Louis, Missouri at Washington University running in the Midwest's premier Distance Night Carnival in large, quality fields of athletes from all 3 NCAA divisions, NAIA, and junior colleges from institutions throughout the eastern half of the United States. The Beavers acquitted themselves admirably. Trent, how did these Beavers compete in that meet in St. Louis?
Well, probably the, biggest performance we would say from the weekend, with the distance anyway, would be sophomore Dakota Frost's. He actually broke his record that he set 2 weeks ago, right, in Virginia for the 10,000 meter race. He broke his own record by a whopping 30 seconds. So, I ran track, you don't really think 30 seconds is a lot when you're just, sitting here. 30 seconds passes. Oh, it's 30 seconds. That was not that long. But, when you're running, 1 second is a long time. So, in 2 weeks, improving his time from what was it?
He ran a 31:55. So that was what? Yeah, that's what he ran in Virginia. So he ran a 31:25.
So dropping your time 5 seconds is a lot, let alone a whole 30 seconds in 2 weeks. He's doing something right.
Yeah, and I can attest to that because I ran cross country and track in high school, and even the slightest amount of time you cut off, it's impressive. And like you said, 30 seconds doesn't seem like it's a lot, but that's a whole heck of a lot of time to shave in the 10K. Who else plays, Trent?
Well, then you have Alexis Cash, who was the second person that broke a record.
Mm-hmm.
She trimmed off 18 seconds from the 5,000 meter record, which was set in 2015. She finished with a time of 18 minutes, 8.87 seconds.
Yeah, she placed 31st among 144 women. That's a lot. And then Dakota, I don't know if we mentioned this, he was 22nd in a field of 74 competitors. I mean, not as much as in the women's race in the 5K, but goodness gracious,
it's a lot of people to run against.
Bluffton was placing really well in those meets. Or in those races, I should say.
And we also have Janine Matson. Oh, I can't read. Janine Matson. I cannot talk. I hate myself. So junior Janine Matson also shaved a lot of time off of her 5,000 meter. She shaved 15 seconds, and her previous best was 18 minutes 44.3 seconds. So what would hers now be? 18.
So her would be, what, 44 minus 10 is 34, 29, 1829.
1829.
Yeah, that's really impressive for the junior Ginny Matson, who's also had a stellar year this year. She had a great year in cross and then an indoor track. It helps having Alexis Cash right there with her. And I mean, same with Chris Lyons. And we mentioned Chris a couple weeks ago about how he had that season-ending injury for cross, so he wasn't able to run his senior year in cross country, which I would be so heartbroken. But he really stepped up being a leader, and also a leader as like a coach would. Yeah. So that helped push the guys. And having Chris come back and having Dakota Frost be the frostiest man out there, he was kicking butt and taking names. Yeah. And so having him help that helps Chris with training and helps him want to improve better. And what did Chris do over the weekend?
He took off a minute, right? He took a minute off of his time, and he established himself into the HCAC qualifying spot.
Yeah, so congrats to the distance crew who traveled all the way to St. Louis, Missouri. That was probably one of the longest trips you guys have ever had this year. And you guys went there, kick butt, take names. That was just fantastic. A round of applause to you guys. That was unbelievable. The other meet happened Friday. Many of the other Beavers were hard at work in Westerville. Who were the runners and field events that placed really well, Trent?
Well, for women, we have Katora Warlick. I mean, she's placed high everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Out of 23 runners, she took fourth in her 100 meter. Her time was 13.6 seconds.
The senior Kyle Nizovich, he that's one of the names Trent has trouble with pronouncing. You'll get it. It's all right. We got a couple more weeks for you to learn Nezovich's last name.
I always want to say Knevovich.
Nope, that K is silent.
Yeah.
But he cleared the bar at 15 feet to place third in the pole vault. In the field of 15, he also dropped his time nicely in the 400 hurdles to 57.11 seconds. He placed fifth in that. In the field of 16 runners. And then, who was the freshman, Trent, that did really well in the long jump?
We had Jihad Shokli. All right, Jihad Shokli. He did well in both his long jump and as well in his 400 meter dash. With his long jump, he had a jump of 20 feet, 9 1/4 inches, and
that's insane.
Yeah, he also placed fifth.
Yep.
Yeah, he placed fifth in the 400 with a time of 52.2 seconds.
So, like we mentioned the last couple of weeks, I mean, these guys are just, and gals, are running really well in the field events. They're running, throwing, jumping, all that stuff extremely well, and the sky's the limit for them, and they're just continually to impress us, and they're just getting better, and I hope for the best the rest of the year for these guys to continually improve and give Bluffton maybe a track and field championship. Who knows? So, the teams will reunite this weekend on the campus of Ohio Wesleyan University at the Mar Fry Invitational. Throws action begins Friday, April 6th at 3:30 p.m. with the men's and women's hammer and javelin competitions. Field events will continue Saturday, April 7th, starting at noon. Track action will commence at 2 p.m. on Saturday. And that wraps up this edition of the Beaver Dam. We thank you for watching and listening. We encourage you to come back next week. Check out our previous podcasts. Search and subscribe on iTunes or Google Play. The WIT 96.1 podcast at Bluffton University. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at the Beaver Dam 961. For more stories and information, check out our website, blufftonwit.com, and subscribe. This has been Tyler Avila, joining along with Trent Mast and Reed Mouse, who left for baseball activities. We thank you for tuning in to the Beaver Dam on 96.1 The Wit.
Roll Beav.